My next guest has set up a website to celebrate the lifestyle of the over 50s. Martin Locke from Dorking set up Silversurfers.com with his wife, both of them over 50, when they couldn't find anything online to meet their needs. Martin joins me now. Good morning, Martin.
Morning, Danny.
Hi there, thanks for coming in today.
You're welcome.
So what were you and your wife looking for?
Well, we had a look around, and I'm 55, my wife's 51, and as you get into your 50s, there's a lot of different opportunities, like you just said, but also, there's a lot of information that I think people want as well, like what happens about pensions, what happens about trying to find out about places for your kids with universities. People are still looking for things like offers and discounts, etc. So we sort of looked around, and there's only one or two other sites out there. Obviously, the most prominent is Saga, and because we couldn't really find a site that we wanted, we decided to set it up ourselves. So just over a year ago, we started setting up Silversurfers.com. We got the domain name, and of course, Silversurfers is the generic term that people use in the UK and in some other English-speaking countries like Australia and New Zealand, etc., for people using the internet who are aged over 50. So we launched it back in November, and it's really expanding fast at the moment.
Did you feel that a lot of the stuff on the internet was for a younger generation, perhaps?
Yeah, I think we did. We thought that, it's geared towards a younger generation. It's interesting as well in terms of like advertising. A lot of brands, advertise to the younger generation, whereas in fact, it's the over 50s who are actually buying a lot of products, like, for example, cars, new cars. The largest proportion of new cars being purchased by individuals are people over 50, because they tend to have more money, and more time as well. So it goes for other products as well, like travel, etc.
Okay, and so I'm just wondering whether this is a very nice gap you're filling at the moment. Perhaps, a generation that are now in their 20s and 30s are growing up with the internet, so they won't have to convert at all as they go through into their 50s. But I guess for maybe people in their perhaps the older age group, the 60s and 70s, are having to learn the internet as they go without it being used perhaps within the workplace.
Yeah, I think that's true to a degree, but all the research that we've done is that there's nearly 23 million people who are aged over 50 in the UK, and already about 15.5 million of those people are on the internet. I think that's growing fast, and what seems to be happening as well is a lot of people over 50 who maybe didn't get caught up in the internet or use it are starting to bypass keyboards and PCs, etc., and using tablets and iPads because they find it so much easier. But what is also interesting is that the vast majority of people in their 50s and early 60s are used to using the internet. They've basically grown up with it, over the last sort of 15, 16 years.
Okay, that's an interesting point about the tablets, because actually you can bypass all that, keyboard, monitor business, and just have the tablet in your hand. So some people, perhaps going straight to those, it seems like a very good solution.
Yeah, I think there's an awful lot of people who are going straight to those, because it's so much easier and it's much more intuitive. And of course, there's all the apps, etc., that can be used. It's just extremely simple. And the other thing to bear in mind is that also what we're seeing from the analytics on the site is 30% of our users are using tablets, but 20% of them are also using mobile phones. So, everyone's got smartphones now, or a large proportion of the population, and they're using the internet on smartphones as well.
Okay, so how has your life changed since being 50? I mean, are you working full-time on this, or do you have another job as well?
No, I started working on it full-time about a year ago, and it is a full-time job. Myself and my wife are basically working.
And what were you doing before?
Well, I was in aviation for a long time. I worked for British Airways, and back in the late 90s, I was a head of e-commerce for BA in the UK, and then...
That's probably a substantial job, I'd imagine.
Yeah, it was it was an interesting job, and also not many people knew about the internet at the time, including myself, although I used to go out to America quite a lot, and, it was full on over there, and the wave sort of came over to the UK. And then I started managing the sales and marketing for BA.com, including buying that domain for British Airways. So, I've been with the internet for quite a lot of time, for quite a long time.
I mean, for me, that's one of the pleasures of flying these days. You can do it. I booked a flight yesterday. I did it at home at my desk, and you print off your boarding pass. You don't even need to do that sometimes, do you? Just go to the airport, and it's all there for you. So, I mean, that's been a real revolution in air travel, isn't it?
Well, I think that's right, Danny. I mean, that's the thing about the internet. It's a total revolution. It's revolutionised everything. If you think, travel's completely revolutionised. If you were to say to someone 20 years ago, the vast majority of flights are going to be booked on the internet, I don't think people would have believed you. And it goes right across everything.
What, you mean we don't have to go to the travel agent all the time anymore?
Yeah. So that's all changed. People are getting their home shopping. It's just interesting. There was a programme, fun enough, on the BBC about a week ago about Amazon, and just saying, about how that is growing so substantially, and people are literally purchasing anything off it. I mean, I bought grass seed off it the other day, and it's just so simple to do. Why?
What freaked me out about that programme was the size of that blooming warehouse they were in. That was incredible, wasn't it?
Absolutely unbelievable. It's a phenomenal operation. But I think the most fantastic thing about it, and on the internet, is you can literally search for any information you want, buy almost anything you want, and it's just getting easier and easier. All the barriers are coming down.
So just give me, try and create some dreams for me here, if you would, Martin. What sort of things, lifestyle things can we do by checking out your website? What sort of things are people going for?
Well, we've got a number. We've got 10 different sections on there, ranging from travel through to motoring, with a lot of information, and a lot of that is unique editorial content. We've got different games on there. We've got offers and discounts from trusted brands. We only work with, some of the best brands. So that ranges from, for example, Cunard, to we've just set up a partnership, fun enough, with Which magazine as well, offering advice, etc. to people. We set up an area called Best of the Web. So that's basically saying to people, right, if you want to know something about, a particular subject, like, I don't know, it could be anything from tablets to, on the internet, to fly fishing, to what are the best sites for purchasing a car. Of course, you can go and see all that, try and get it on Google, but we've tried to make it simpler by pulling together all that information and giving you our choice of the best websites.
A lot of that will come down to trust and whether they trust your judgment and you absolutely. Trusting that you're making good choices to recommend to other people.
Yeah, so we're doing all that. And the other thing that we're creating here is a friendship site. So one of the biggest surprises, I guess, to us was how many people over 50 are actually using Facebook, especially, which is over 6 million. And our Facebook site, we've already, in a short period of time, got 115,000 people who are members on it. Mm-hmm. But the most incredible thing is the actual interaction, because if you look at a lot of Facebook sites, especially company Facebook sites, they might have 5 or 10,000 people interacting on any one time. I mean, today we've got 125,000 people interacting on it, and we've actually had up to nearly 500,000, which is just phenomenal. And the interesting thing about the over 50s is people have got opinions. They've got an awful lot of experience in life. There's a big thing about nostalgia here as well. So if we put up some information or a post on Facebook about music, for example, and connect it to the website, silversurfers.com, we get hundreds, and in some cases thousands and thousands of comments, about this is what I was doing then, I love this, or different other suggestions as well. So it's literally, the site we're finding is snowballing in its attraction and the amount of people joining it, which is great news.
So finally, Martin, was it a risk when you started this up, or did you start at quite low level before jumping in, as you say, a year ago, full time?
Well, no, I think it is a risk, Danny, but it's one of those things. We absolutely love it. We think there's a huge opportunity out there. What's interesting, I say to a lot of people, is when you look at all the websites being set up, all over the world, most of the time they're being set up by 20s and 30s who think of all these fantastic new ideas. We're in our 50s, and it just proves you can actually set up a business, in your 50s and 60s. And once more, the internet is the tool to be able to do that. You can work from home, you can connect up to thousands of people, and I think we've sort of shown an example with that it's possible to do something with a really small team. You just need to look at what the niche is out there.
It's a year and a bit till I'm 50. What have I got to look forward to?
You've got a lot to look forward to. You've got you've got an awful lot to look forward to. Being in your 50s is not much different than other ages. You've just got more experience. I think for myself, I just tended to enjoy life even more. You tend to look more carefully at things like health, the food you're eating, etc. And probably I think a lot of people get into exercise even more as well. But people who are now in their 50s and 60s are no real difference to people in their 40s. It's just a state of mind, I think.
Okay, I think I've got the state of mind sorted out. Good to talk to you, Martin. Thanks for your time today.
Okay.
Best of luck.
Yeah, thanks, Danny. All the best. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Martin Locke from Dorking, Silversurfers.com, set that website up with his wife. 10 minutes to 11 now.